Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the news first where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
How to control online media, the president commends. Rainfall continues in southwest Sri Lanka. Uwais Mohammed steps down as Sipetco chairman. Railway services delayed by unannounced strike. India tells Canada to withdraw dozens of diplomatic staff. ICC Cricket World Cup to open in India tomorrow. Danushka Gunathilaka returns from Australia after almost a year-long legal battle.
On to those stories in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized that all media outlets, including social media, should engage in a discussion regarding whether to enter into international agreements or adhere to the country's legal framework. He made these remarks during his attendance at the ceremony held at the Presidential Secretariat in honor of a distinguished figure in Sri Lankan journalism, Edmund Ranasinghe.
This event marked the inauguration of a program initiated by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to pay tribute to senior journalists who have made significant contributions to the field of journalism in the country. During the ceremony, the book Edmund's Newspaper Revolution, a compilation recognizing Mr. Ranasinghe's 7 decades of media dedication at the age of 93, was also unveiled. President Ranil Wickremesinghe lauded veteran journalist Edmund Ranasinghe as a trailblazer who catalyzed transformative changes in Sri Lankan journalism.
Back in
the day, any form of media operated within the legal framework of the country. Today we have online and social media where no one has control. They say that they can do whatever they want. That is a massive issue. In the EU and other countries, they look at how they can regulate the media. And they are ready to enter into international agreements or adhere to the country's legal framework. Often, many concur with the European legislation. This affects the print media, and the electronic media has already suffered a blow. The radio has somehow managed to survive.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said he will not support laws that censor the media. The former head of state expressed his views when he arrived at the Sri Sambuddha Loka Mahaviharya in Fort Colombo.
Leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the Sri Sambuddha Loka Viharya today. He spoke to media after engaging in religious observances and calling upon the Mahasangha.
ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ කතාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමා දැන් මේ
හොඳයි කතාවකි.
එතුමා කියන ජාත්‍යන්තර පරීක්ෂණයක් අවශ්‍ය නැහැ කියන.
බොහොම හරියදී මම හිතන්නේ ඒක තමයි ජනතාවත් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
ඔබතුමාත් සරට කතා කරපු කෙනෙක් මාධ්‍යයට ජාත්‍යන්තර මාධ්‍යයට. හැබැයි රනිල් මහත්තයා ඒ ගානටම ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඒක
හොඳයි ඉතින්. එහෙම බෑ කරන්න.
සර් මේ මාධ්‍ය වාරණ කරන්න හදනවා කියලා කියන සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ඒකට ඔබතුමා
නෑ එහෙම කියන්නේ අතුස්සන්නේ නෑනේ කවුරුවත්.
channel 4 මේ සිද්ධිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් කොහොමද ඔබතුමාගේ මතය?
මොකක්ද ඉතින් channel 4 වලට ඕන විදියට නම් අපිට නටන්න බෑනේ නේ.
සර් මේ දැන් ජනතාවට අමාරුවෙන් ඉන්නේ ඔබතුමා පිළිසරණක් වෙනවද?
ඒක තමයි ආණ්ඩුවට අපි කියන්නේ. මේ ජනතාව අමාරුවෙන් ඉන්නේ මේ වෙලාවේ ජනතාවට පිට වෙන්න ඕන කියලා.
ජනතාව පැත්තේද ඔබතුමා?
ඔව් අනිවාර්යයෙන්. අපි ඒ දායින්දම ජනතාවගේ පැත්තේ.
ඔබතුමා පාලනය කරන කාලේ ඇත්තටම මොන වුණත් ජනතාවට මේ තරම් අමාරුවක් වුණේ නැහැ සර්. එතකොට දැන් මේකට පොඩි උපදේශයක් දෙන්න බැරිද වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිතුමාට?
වැඩේ තියෙන්නේ ඉතින් අපෙන් උපදේශ ගත්තොත් ඉල්ලුවොත් අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. බලෙන් දෙන්න බෑනේ නේ.
සර් දැන් මේ විදුලි බිල වැඩි කිරීම නිසා ජනතාවට
ඒක දැන් අපි සාකච්ඡා කරගෙන යනවා සියලු മന്ത്രിවරු අපේ කණ්ඩායම. මොනවාරි සහනයක් ලබා දෙන්න.
පාලන බලය ඔබතුමාගේ පැත්තට ගන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැද්ද?
නෑ එහෙමදි මම පාලනය කරා ඇතිනේ. දැන් අලුත් නායකත්වයක් ඇති වෙලා ඉදිරියට යන්න ඕනේ.
Attention was focused on the online safety bill at media briefing organised by the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
මේ රටේ
Social media is what made me the president. During my tenure as president, I was criticized to a different level, where even my picture was edited to show me bleeding from my entire body and with my body parts amputated. Though it looked like a joke, I did not get angry. As the opposition, we must protect the democracy of this country and the freedom of the media. However, if the country is not moving in the right direction, we must follow the methods followed by the majority of the countries in the world. When we think about social media, we must remember that this bill was brought to Parliament by the Minister in charge of Public Security. Social media is used for expressing opinions. As the SLFP, we have an issue when such a bill is brought forward by the Minister in charge of the police, because when the Minister of Mass Media and Minister of Technology are on the sidelines, why has the Minister in charge of another subject brought this bill? This makes us think, as the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, that there may be an ulterior motive.
අපිට ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබෙනවා.
මාධ්‍ය ශාස්ත්‍රයේ ඉන්න වෘත්තීයවේදී සංවිධාන
A regulation that is established by taking the opinions of media professionals, media regulators, media educators and media users is what is considered a successful regulation. It should not be established through the individual opinion or what that leads to suppression. This is what we would like to emphasize.
වර්ධනීය නියාමනයක් නොවිය යුතුයි කියන කාරණය තමයි අවධාරණය කරන්නේ. බොහොමත් ස්තුතියි.
National Trade Union Centre expressed views pertaining to the proposed new bills.
Against the backdrop of the country's assets being sold and people being taxed heavily, new bills have been introduced that restricts people's freedoms. Patience has run out. If concessions cannot be provided immediately, leave. Do not postpone elections and prevent the people from choosing their own representatives. Bills such as anti-terrorism bill and the online safety bill are designed to stop people from taking to the streets and criticizing the government. Ranil, stay silent or stay in a corner. You cannot suppress the people's voice.
Sri Lanka's central bank governor said he is confident that the first review of the IMF-supported program will be completed shortly so that the country can access the second tranche of the bailout package. He was speaking at the 44th National Conference of Chartered Accountants organized by Chartered Accountants Sri Lanka.
The government and the central bank are continuing to make progress on Extended Fund Facility program with EFF from the International Monetary Fund, which we managed to secure within a short period early this year. With the successful completion of the domestic debt restructuring process, where CA also helped us a lot, and notable progress on the external debt restructuring front that we are already making, we are confident of the successful completion of the first review, which will enable us to receive the second tranche shortly. So I am very confident that we should be able to complete the process and we will move in the right direction faster than expected. I wish to reiterate that the central government and the central bank are progressing with the debt restructuring efforts in a meticulous and prudent manner to ensure securing of the most optimal solutions with the least burden to the overall citizenry and the macroeconomy. Through the course of these developments, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka remains committed to ensuring the stability of the financial system as well as the macroeconomy. So going forward, we would expect in the second half, we see turning into a positive growth trajectory in terms of economic growth. With the progress on the IMF program, what I call this, people call this IMF is the program of we have the ownership. Program of Sri Lanka is not the IMF. IMF is helping us to implement the program. And also the debt restructuring initiatives, there have been improvements in foreign flows and in overall investor confidence that we have already seen on a gradual basis. Accordingly, the leading indicators already show some signs of recovery, and we strongly believe that the economy will gradually recover from its deepest economic contraction in 2022, supported by the stabilization of inflation, positive outlook for the external sector, and the restoration of the sustainability of the government's expansive and comprehensive fiscal consolidation program that seeks to improve revenue while rationalizing expenditures and undertaking several structural reforms.
The annual conference 2023 of CA Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo. The theme of the conference was Smart Management of Public Finance.
Each new economic crisis continues to highlight the need for better financial management through robust governance and accountability mechanisms, and open and transparent reporting This requires strong financial leadership at the very top of government and trusted politicians with a political will to change and reform government public finance systems and processes. CARPA believes that it's important for governments to have access to better about the true nature of fiscal risks. A published set of accrual-based financial statements, it can also help to establish and forecast public spending and revenue, which can, in turn, help reveal fiscal problems that may not be identified from the national statistical accounts. In an economic crisis, it's important to assess long-term public finance sustainability. I'm sure the Sri Lankan people have learnt that managing an economic crisis cannot be solved by politicians alone. A wider range of stakeholders need to be involved, and at the heart of managing any economic crisis is the need for better, more open and transparent information prepared by competent, highly trained and highly skilled finance professionals and leaders.
Chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Uwais Mohammed, has resigned from his position.
Chairman of Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, Uwais Mohammed, has resigned from his posts. Posting on X, formerly known as Twitter, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara said Uwais Mohammed handed over his resignation letter yesterday. The minister added that he had cited personal and professional reasons for his decision. It states that the subject minister commended Uwais Mohammed for holding the post of chairman of CPETCO for 14 months during a challenging period.
The Judicial Service Commission launched a special investigation regarding Mullaitivu Magistrate T. Saravanaraja's resignation.
The Judicial Service Commission said that an investigation team has been deployed for this, and the police have also launched an investigation. On Tuesday the 3rd, the Judicial Services Association requested the Chief Justice to investigate the reasons and those responsible for the resignation of Mullaitivu Magistrate, and also to take the necessary measures to do away with the obstacles that are in place for the courts and judges to function independently and in an unbiased manner as institutions and as individuals, respectively.
Colombo Fort Magistrate Tilina Gamage ordered to quash a case that was filed against former Governor of the Central Bank Ajit Niwad Cabral and former President's Secretary Lalit Veeratunga. The case was filed by Venerable Thiniyavala Palitatero.
Venerable Thiniyavala Palitatero filed this case for allegedly giving $6.5 million in public funds to Imad Zubairi, a Pakistani national residing in the United States and thus committing a criminal act. In this case, it was pointed out that former President's Secretary Lalit Veeratunga in 2014, as a secretary to the President with no authorization, directed the Central Bank of Sri Lanka to pay the said amount of money to Imad Zubairi by entering into an agreement with the aim of lobbying for Sri Lanka. Magistrate Tilina Gamage ordered to dismiss the case, citing that sufficient evidence was not filed against the accused in the complaint.
Samagi Jana Balawega questioned the subject minister in Parliament today on increasing the electricity bill again.
The electricity bill was increased drastically in February due to losses incurred by the Ceylon Electricity Board. It was reduced by 14% in July, indicating that the board had made profits. However, the bill is now being increased again, citing losses. Heavy rainfall has been received recently, but it is unclear whether this is the reason for the increase. In response to the comment about rainfall and electricity generation, I would like to state that although heavy rains are being experienced in certain areas, the areas where the hydropower power plants are located are not receiving sufficient rainfall. Specifically, Victoria, Randanigala, Ranchabe and Samanalavawa are receiving low rainfall. Secondly, when the electricity bill was revised in January, I informed the Parliament that only 4,200 gigawatt hours are generated from CEB sources per year. However, the PUCSL projected this to be 5,000 gigawatt hours. The PUCSL later agreed that based on the projections made by the CEB and the Meteorological Department, the maximum we can produce is only 3,750 gigawatt hours. We have another 750 gigawatt hours from thermal power plants. In June, the CEB requested that the bill be decreased by 3% in July, but the PUCSL, based on the available statistics, decided to reduce it by 14%. However, after reducing it by 14% due to the drought, the release of water from Samanalavawa and the increased cost of thermal power, we have a 30 billion deficit. The CEB has requested that the PUCSL revise the rates, but it is the PUCSL that needs to make the decision. We can resolve our energy problems with solar power generation, but there is an opinion that the CEB is opposed to it. We are planning to add 250 megawatts from the Sukadanavi LNG power plant by May next year. We have also approved the construction of renewable energy power plants, especially wind power plants in Mana and Punarin, in partnership with the Adani Group. These projects will generate 500 megawatts. Additionally, we have provided land for local bidders to generate 100 megawatts of power through a tender process. We have also given a firm in Batiklo the opportunity to generate 100 megawatts of solar power. Two local firms in Hambantota and Punakari have also been given the same opportunity. Finally, we are planning to restart the Sampu power plant to generate 50 megawatts of solar power. As the long-term plan was not implemented and proper policy decisions were not made, we have an electricity generation crisis.
Motor accidents across several areas resulted in the death of a 9-year-old child and injured over 24 others.
A motorcycle collided with a lorry at the Pudukalam junction on the Ichankulam Vaunia road last afternoon. A boy and a girl who were travelling on the back of the motorcycle were seriously injured in the accident and were admitted to hospital. The boy, aged 9 years, succumbed to his injuries upon being admitted to hospital, and the driver of the lorry and the driver of the motorcycle have been arrested. 6 people were injured in a car accident in Magakand area of Beruala last night and were admitted to hospital. A CTB bus operating from Katharagama to Colombo and a luxury bus operating from Colombo to Galle collided head-on in the Magakand area in Beruala. 6 people, including the driver of the luxury bus, were injured and admitted to Kalutara Teaching Hospital. Police said that while the CTB bus was trying to overtake a motorcycle, it collided with the luxury bus coming from the opposite direction. 21 people were injured in another motor accident that occurred in the Brownswick Estate area on the Muskelia-Samimale main road. A small lorry in which a group of people attending a funeral was travelling in veered off the road and fell off a cliff. 4 injured passengers are being treated at the Muskelia District Hospital and 17 passengers have been transferred to the Koya Primary Hospital.
Operations Superintendent of Sri Lanka Railways, M.J. Indipola, said that railway services will be delayed due to a sudden strike launched by group railway workers. Operations Superintendent of Sri Lanka Railways said that a security officer attached to the Maligawatha railway yard had assaulted a railway guard, prompting the workers to go on strike. He said that moving trains out of the Maligawatha railway yard has been suspended. He added that several trains will be delayed and some will be cancelled due to the strike. Wildlife officer and locals banded together to rescue an elephant calf trapped in the mud. A 6-year-old elephant calf that was stuck in a mud of the Nelumkulamavawa in Kakirava for days was brought to safety after a valiant effort by the wildlife officers and the locals. The wildlife officials took steps to release the rescued elephant calf to a wildlife reservation. Today marked the day 29 of the second leg of the LLRC Divisavia program. The program took place in the Hingurakkad education zone of the Polonnaruwa district.
The second leg of the LLRC Divisavia aims to provide school books and stationery to government schools with less than 100 students for an entire year. This world initiative is a collaboration between the LLRC group and the Ministry of Education. Students from Yatiyalpatana Prathamika Vidyalaya, Kumaragama Anura Prathamika Vidyalaya, Siriketta Prathamika Vidyalaya, Patunagama Prathamika Vidyalaya, Kandavura Prathamika Vidyalaya and Vijayabahupura Prathamika Vidyalaya were provided with school books and stationery items under the program at the Hingurakkad Education Zonal Office. The LLRC Divisavia program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
Issuing a weather advisory, the Met Department notes the prevailing showery condition in southwestern part of the island is expected to continue further. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in western, Sabaragamuwa, southern and northwestern provinces and in Kandy and Nuwara districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and southern provinces.
The Irrigation Department reports that flood levels in Athanagaluoya and Gingaga are receding. The water level of the Millakanda gauge of Kaluganga placed the water levels at 8.33 meters. Dambala, Atambagashandia, Paragoda along the Bulat Singhala Molkava Road were inundated owing to the overflowing of the Kuda Ganga. The Badbegama gauge of the Ging River placed the water levels at 4.30 meters. News First correspondent noted low-lying areas in Kadduwa, Malimbada, Katuangoda, Narangala are inundated. Roads and around 100 houses in the Valpola and Varagampiti areas are inundated due to the rising water levels of the Nilvala River in Varagampitiya and Peak Vella. News First correspondent further noted that the water level has risen to 5 meters in some areas. 300 houses in Ambatale were inundated due to the rising water levels of Kalani River. One sluice gate of the Polgola Dam remains open, releasing 1,030 cubic feet of water per second into the Victoria Reservoir. Around 500 acres of rice fields nearing harvest were completely inundated in Nalagama Beliyatta. Several low-lying areas in Tangol were inundated due to the rising water levels of the Kirimauer. Mathura Hambantota main road was also inundated in Tangol, hampering vehicular movement. These are some of the visuals captured by News First cameras, where many low-lying areas and rice fields being inundated in Imaduagol owing to the heavy showers received since last evening. Due to the rising water levels of the Athanagaluoya, Makilangamua along the Gampaha Kandana Road and Akaravita along the Gampaha Jayala Road were inundated. Meanwhile, a transformer and a motorbike was damaged after a tree uprooted in Katukale, Kandy. Due to adverse weather conditions, 34,827 people from 8,807 families in 12 districts have been affected. The most affected are from the Western Province. Meanwhile, the landslide warnings issued for 8 districts remain in effect. Certain divisional secretariat zones in Colombo, Gaul, Hambantota, Kaluthara, Kandy, Kegol, Mathura and Ratnapura districts are included in these warnings.
The people in Mathura warned that if the salinity barrier set up across the Nilvala River is not removed, a dangerous situation will arise if heavy rains continue in the region. Views were expressed over the matter in Parliament today.
මාතර නිල්වලා ගඟේ ඉදිකර ඇති ලවණ බහදකයේ නිරීක්ෂණය
I, along with MP Buddhika Patirana, an organizer of the Samagi Jana Sandhana of the Samagi Jana Balavega in Mathura, inspected the salinity barrier constructed across the Nilvala River. This has led to a serious crisis in that area. This has posed a threat to the Kiralakhale, Kadewadua and Kadua irrigation projects as well as the Mathura town. Around 12,000 rice fields have been destroyed as a result of this. The proposal to add collapsible gates in the project had been terminated by a decision reached by the secretaries of two ministries while the project was underway. Around 10 harvesting seasons were affected. The expected results of this salinity barrier have not been achieved. As a result of this salinity barrier, the water levels of the Nilvala River have risen and could also flood the entire Mathura town. Will the government accept this?
ජලයෙන් යටවීමේ අවදානමක් ඇති බව රජය පිළිගන්නේ.
He may have visited the area last week. However, all the government and opposition members in the Mathura district have visited this area and it should not be used for political gains. We should make technical decisions and not political ones. You can make political decisions. Was compensation provided for the 9 harvesting seasons that were affected? There is no point in just speaking. Compensation was not provided.
Shifting your attention to international news, India has asked Canada to withdraw about 40 diplomatic staff from India, reports say, in a sharp escalation of a weeks-long crisis. The Financial Times reported that those who stayed past 10th October would lose their diplomatic immunity. Last month, Canada said India may have been behind the killing of a Sikh separatist leader on Canadian soil, which India has denied. In your sports news, Sri Lanka international cricketer Dhanushka Gunatilaka, who was found not guilty in a sexual assault case by Sydney's Downing Centre District Court, returned to country after almost 11 months.
During the T20 World Cup in 2022, Sri Lanka batter Dhanushka Gunatilaka was arrested and charged by Australian police after an alleged sexual assault. On the 28th of September, delivering the verdict of the trial, New South Wales judge Sarah Huggett found Dhanushka Gunatilaka not guilty.
I will discuss my future plans with my managers and execute them as soon as possible. I hope to return to practice soon. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the fans. I believe you all showed your love and support for me. I am only 32 years old, so I have many years of cricket left in me.
That's a wrap of your news. Take care and good day.